we are back in Pike and Shot Total War, and today the Battle of Lomnice in 1618 is about to begin, and the Bohemians here, a new faction in Pike and Shot Total War, are taking on a united army of the Catholic League and the Holy Roman Empire. What's up, guys? We are back, and we do have a glorious 2v2 here for you today. As we are recreating the Battle of Lomnice, which is in history was a Bohemian victory. Today we will see whether Bohemia can change, will keep history the same, or whether the Catholic League and the Holy Roman Empire will change history here today. Maybe the Bohemians will change history themselves by, screwing themselves over. We will see. We already had a little bit of an engagement, but it was literally as I arrived in the replay, these guys basically engaged. These Hayducks here, a Bohemian. Sort of skirmish unit engaged with some Catholic League Jaegers, and basically just they got blasted and routed immediately. So there's nothing really major. There's not really been any sort of major fighting going on. I thought maybe they would continue, but it seems it's not the case. The Catholic League looks like it's pretty much Bohemia, looking at the emblem. I don't know if these guys are technically a new faction themselves. Bohemia definitely is a new faction. These guys are 1618. Like Catholic League. I don't know if there is actually a later Catholic League. There is, and I don't know if there's an earlier, like if the 1618 Holy Roman Empire is also new. I don't think we've ever used them or seen them at least on the battlefield before. It's 1630 and 1640s are usually the periods that are used in our Pike and Shot battles. But yes, Bohemia is very much definitely a new faction, as is another one which I'm going to be showing off in another replay very soon, which is Denmark. So yes, definitely stick around in the next few days to see them as well in action. There are the new factions that have been added in the new update that is out for Pike and Shot Total War. If you want to check out this mod, it's very easy to get. All you need to have is Shogun 2, go onto ModDB, well, go onto Google first, type Pike and Shot Total War. It'll be the first thing that appears, and yeah, easy to install from ModDB. But yeah, in this battle, the Battle of Lomnice, there was around about 14,000 Bohemians. That honestly might be the scale of these battles is massive, so we might have that historical amount, and about 10,000 Catholic troops, we'll call them, I guess, because the Bohemians are Protestants. The whole sort of reason for the 30 Years' War, faith, battle between Protestant and Catholic forces. The Bohemian Protestant nobles basically defied King Ferdinand, who was the heir to the Roman Empire at the time, and they threw the Catholic governor from a window, apparently, in Prague Castle, but threw him out and installed their own Protestant governor, and basically turned Bohemia into a Protestant state by doing that. And obviously the Roman Empire was not pleased with this, so they sent an army along with the Catholic League under the command of Count of Bucquoy, who I don't think is actually here today. We have Du Longueval, but I don't think we have Bucquoy. Oh yeah, we just have a general's bodyguard. And he was sent to basically, recapture Prague and Bohemia. They meet at a village called Lomnice, and they basically fight there. And the Bohemians lose about 80 men and have about 120 wounded, apparently, and there's about 1,500 dead for the Catholics. Most of those losses for the Catholics inflicted by artillery fire. So I guess the Bohemians must have had superior artillery to the HRE. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't see any artillery at the moment, and as I say that, some 4-pounders appear. So yeah, it looks like we've got some artillery here. Whether this Bohemian army has some as well. Yeah, 4-pounders here as well. Be interesting to see whether the Catholics have actually brought any, whether they've kind of gone for we'll go historical and we have no artillery. And they haven't. They have got 4-pounders over there, so they have brought artillery of their own. Maybe just less of it, which would be quite cool to, if they kind of balance it like that. But I imagine that hasn't really come into the thought of the players at all. They probably just thought, we'll bring some artillery if we want it, and if we bring less, oh well. It's a little bit laggy. I don't really know why, but I might make a cut in a moment anyway, because I don't know how quickly this battle is going to take place. I don't know if this is actually a custom map for Lomnice. I didn't actually look at that. It could have been. Quite often these the developers, they do add historical maps, and they do end up quite quickly making the historical battle replays for me to show off, which I do thank the guys for. They do a great job sending in replays. And yeah, I really look forward to covering more Pike and Shot. You guys seem to enjoy it. It is a really fun sort of period. Very different to any sort of other Total War period that we cover on the channel. Like Napoleonics is probably the closest because it's black powder, but it is so much different because obviously we have lots of pikes and lots of heavy cavalry and just a whole different sort of style of combat. And it's a lot slower, I'd feel like, in some ways to like Total War, to like Napoleon Total War anyway. Like, even though it's Shogun 2, it's very, like, different in pacing, that's for sure. Colonel John Seaton's pikemen. John Seaton sounds pretty English to me. And his musketeers that are right next to them. Yeah, I mean, they could be. I don't know. There were a lot of... Obviously, England's kind of, like, becomes a Protestant sort of state as well in this time. So supporting other Protestant states is quite possible. I mean, yeah, the Das Regiment, there's Grafen Heinrich von Schlick Musketeer. They definitely sound a lot more German. Put it like that. It looks like his whole... I mean, then we've got Ladislav here. That's a lot more like a Polish name. Which I guess Poland... Bohemia is sort of in that, like, sort of, like, German / Poland area. It looks like this is one Bohemian army over here. The second one is sort of sitting further back, whether they're going to move up to engage HRE. Because otherwise, this army here is going to get engaged by both Catholic armies. I mean, I guess it's just one army. It could be one and a bit. It's kind of hard to say. The scale of these armies is huge. And yeah, I mean, like, musketeer units are 160 in size, and then the pikes are like even bigger, 280, going on to 300, some of them. Yeah, cav units like 100 in size. The scale is absolutely huge, and I love it. But yes, if you want to see more Pike and Shot on the channel and more of like the Bohemia and Denmark sort of content, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're around here, and a comment to show your support. It really does help out the channel. And yeah, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the Danish battle, which will be coming out in the next few days. Yes. Seems like the musketeers are getting into position. They're going to try and blast these Jaegers, get them out of the way. I mean, the Jaegers will do a little bit of damage. You can see, oh my gosh, actually. They're dropping quite a lot of these musketeers. I can't see the musketeers will do the same amount of damage. Muskets are still very inaccurate for this age. They are causing them to waver. They killed like 10 of them, so it's not bad, I guess. And there you go, they routed them pretty quickly. There you go, the Jaegers, yeah, very little morale. They're not supposed to be in a line fight. They did a decent amount of damage, you know, to that musketeer unit. And the Catholic League are moving forward now. We will see how they do in this fight here. And they got Alt Tilly Musketeers. Tilly, another famous general from like the 30 Years' War, if I remember. Young Tilly. Alt Tilly. I guess maybe, yeah, there must be more than one Tilly. I don't know which one is the famous one. Maybe they both are. There's just lots of Germany mercenary Rita. And we've got the Pappenheim cuirassiers here as well. And the Pappenheim, another famous general. My gosh, he's got a lot of them. Jeez. Yeah, he has really gone for it. And there you go, cavalry moving forward as well. Croatian arquebusiers. You see a lot of these as well on both sides quite often, or at least in most battles. Anyway, I think they're mostly Catholic forces. But when we do custom battles, they seem to be on every single side. But yeah, there you go. The musketeers got rid of them. They did a bit of damage. I think the Croatians have returned. Things rout quite quickly, even though they maybe only lost 1 or 2 men. It's the same with NTW3. So morale is more key than actually like inflicting damage on an actual unit. If you can surround a unit or hit it from like multiple sides with musket fire, you'll rout it quite quickly. But yeah, if you've got any sort of Pike and Shot battles or any Total War battles of your own that you want to send in, the best place to send them in is my Discord. The link is down below in the description. And if you want to get involved in any Pike and Shot battles yourself, if you're like, man, I need to get myself into some of these battles, feel free to join their Discord. The link for that is also down in the description. It's probably the best place to go. They have quite an active community. They often play most days, it seems. Yeah, if you want to get involved in any sort of battles, that is the place to do so. Like I said, I'll leave a link for it. Or if you just want to get involved in helping develop the mod as well, I think they're still needing help with that on that sort of front. You can also do that if you've got experience in mod development. But yeah, to think this is Shogun 2. Like, this is like a game that's set in Japan, and we have not even a shred of like sort of like a sign that we are in Japan. It looks like we are in 17th century Europe. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you look at all these units here. I mean, quite easy to turn these, like these, quite easy to make from Ashigaru into pikemen. I feel like, but yeah, it looks brilliant, and I can't wait. They're going to add a campaign as well. Obviously, patience on the campaign, but they're going to try and do a campaign that's also incredible. Again, will be pretty hard to alter from like Japan to Europe, but I'm sure it's very much doable. The campaign map. Okay, this will be interesting to see who wins this fight, because, I mean, Bohemia is fighting downhill. Definitely the bonuses you'd think are with them. Be interesting to see where they do actually win this gunfight. So the amount of musketeers in this fight, I'd say, well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Bohemian ones against, looks like 6 Catholic League ones. Yeah, the Bohemians already struggling there. John Seaton, he's getting out of there. These musketeers. Already, yeah, 30-man losses from all their engagements. Yeah, actually seems like there are a lot of Bohemians here dropping. Might be as many as 80 dead Bohemians already in this battle. So already they're taking more losses than they did historically. And a big cavalry corps forming up on this right flank here. Again, the same with the Catholic League there. They have a bunch of cuirassiers as well. Running, and someone's men are running. Not quite sure whose. Something's breaking. What's breaking? Oh, wow, that fully routed that John Seaton musketeer. 107 and it broke. Interesting. I don't know how strong Bohemia is in the grand scheme of things. I've been told that like Denmark's having like a supporting faction, I think. It's certainly not the strongest. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Bohemia, you know, can take on, you know, like a power like the HRE alone, or whether it really needs support from another power like, I don't know, like Sweden. Be interesting to see. They are setting up. Looks like, yeah, this Bohemia army is now finally ready to deal with the HRE. This certainly, I would say, is the strongest point, like the center for the HRE and for the Catholic League. It's definitely probably their strongest point, I feel like, because they can try and push through there, but also it's probably Bohemia's best spot as well for holding. But I mean, a good push down the center, if they can combine together there, could really work. I mean, see if they move forward in this sort of like V formation they've got going on here, then they could certainly like hit the center of the Bohemian line from from 2 fronts. With musket fire and pikes as well. Again, this is going to be pretty tough for the Catholic League up here, is this artillery. On a hill, I can't imagine that's going to be easy to advance upon. But artillery isn't the hardest to take out. You only have to shoot it with like musketeers, and you'll probably rout them. They seem to die quite quickly to musket fire, rather than charging them with cavalry. John Seaton's infantry, yeah, doesn't seem like it's the greatest in the world. Already like was redlining for a minute there, and he's so far up this hill. But yep, both sides taking a very slow. Another John Seaton musketeer about to break. Yeah, I think just the amount of guns firing here from the Catholic League is just way too much. Bohemia needs to get more musketeers along here if they can, because they're getting outgunned here, I think. This is going like for the Catholic League, even though they're fighting quite literally an uphill battle. Seems like it's all in their favor at the moment. Seems like they've got every card in their hand at the moment. Maybe not artillery so much. The one artillery that the Catholic League have is way over on that far side there, and it is not facing off against the 2 4-pounders here. Once they start firing, whether that's going to turn the fight around a bit in Bohemia's favor, I don't know, but they might need it to. This is concerning for the HRE. Is this flank going on here from Bohemia? A nice little flank. Got a lot of musketeers and a lot of pikemen as well. We've got Ladislev and his musketeer regiments here and some other ones. They're flanking around, and the first thing they're going to hit is this 4-pounder here. If they can get into range and deal with that 4-pounder before it sets up, huge. They also seem like they've got a fairly big wing here of infantry. We've got Hamilton's Scots, I saw there. Yeah, Scottish regiment. Yeah, so yeah, there are English or British troops at this battle. So we've got the Scots here. They could help contend with the actual infantry while this flank moves around. So Bohemia here doing a nice little move. They could do a cavalry support. It's now arriving slowly. We've got, yeah, Harquebusiers arriving. Artillery, I think, did get off a volley. Did some damage to the musketeers here, killing like 7 of them. Are they going to go melee or are they just going to blast? We'll see. I think I'd just shoot. I think, yeah, because you're going to end up just getting shot by other infantry anyway. But they're already wavering anyway. You can see here they've not even lost a man. I think it's just the sheer proximity of the musketeers. And there you go, routed, gone. And that is huge. This is really concerning here for the HRE, is this left flank here of the Bohemians. Right flank looks, you know, okay. It's possibly losing to the Catholic League, but this is, they're way out of position now, are the HRE. Being well and truly flanked. They need to get their cav to the flank, if anything, to try and secure that. And instead of having it behind the infantry lines, and there you go, wavering infantry already, and the Bohemians are still pushing forward here. They need the cav to arrive as well. We've got the Germans, like German mercenary arquebusiers. We've got Cuirassier regiment back there as well. Great, but they need to move forward quicker. Yeah, I mean, it seems like I think they outnumber the cav as well. Do the HRE. They just haven't got it into play at all. Here we go. Looks like we're going to see some arquebusiers going in against musketeers. Good fight here for the HRE. In they go. Going to do their best. Going to try and cut these guys down. And I mean, Bohemia's got a second line of musketeers ready. Musketeers seem like they're holding okay. They're redlining actually the arquebusier, and they're wavering. Look at that! Another musketeer here though is wavering. Got pikes forming square, interestingly enough. And now the musketeers are starting to waver as the cav sort of stabilizes. More cav going in against musketeers. Are they gonna maybe, you know, stop this this push forward here right now? I mean, the pikes forming square is probably gonna do some damage to that cav. The second musketeers just blasted everything, friend and foe, and now here comes the Bohemian cav to try and save the day. They're going to try and rout these arquebusiers, get rid of them, maybe counter-charge and hit the musketeers here of the HRE. It was a ballsy push by Bohemia, and it sort of worked a little, but it has cost them some musketeers of their own. And yeah, it looks like the Bohemians are going to counter-charge. It looks like they go to, yeah, there they go, into... And this is a Cuirassier regiment by Bohemia going in, not some arquebusiers. A heavy cav going in, heavily armored boys. They're going to try and cut down those HRE musketeers. The response is to send in even more arquebusiers of the HRE. And can they get musketeers to sort of side shot and support the Cuirassiers in here? We'll see. Once you rout one unit, though, it'll affect allied troops around you. So, yeah, HRE losing one unit there, that might affect some of the other units in combat, and they're pulling out, I think, for that reason. Another unit breaks there as well, and that is looking good for Bohemia on this flank here. Really, really nice. And the line fight continues here. Bohemia seems like he's doing okay. He's kind of, you know, overlapping with units a little bit. Maybe wants to avoid that to bring down friendly fire. Hamilton, Scots here, the boys in red doing their bit. And I think Bohemia is looking ready for a swing into the flank here. You can see the Cuirassier regiment and the arquebusiers getting ready. They can fire like small arms of their own. It's one of the great bonuses. Oh, jeez, there you go. The HRE proving that with their arquebusiers, firing their carbines off before charging in. And a decisive cavalry fight here is taking place. This could be the fate of the flank, really. The HRE need to win this, otherwise their infantry's at risk. And the Bohemian needs to win this, because otherwise they're going to lose a huge, substantial amount of their cavalry. They have got reinforcements arriving, but they're a long way away. HRE also backing up their cav fight. I mean, it's 3-on-1 here. That's probably not great for Bohemia to be blobbing up so much. And you can see he's actually falling back. It's probably the best. And I think both sides are just going to back off. No one's going to overcommit their cav. There you go, the arquebusiers broke. Musketeers set up here. It's a risk. They don't want to get too close. They should just blast from there. They'll outgun the cavalry, I believe. They just don't want to get too close and get shot and charged. There you go. How's it going along with the Catholic League? They haven't really progressed anywhere. These guys are still sort of stood here. Looks like Bohemia's backing further and further up the hill. Maybe losing the gunfight. Yeah, cavalry, I think, is, yeah, look at that, is falling back even more. They're taking a lot of casualties, I think, from just small arms fire from the Catholic League. But yeah, it's all going on really on the left flank here for Bohemia and the right flank for the Catholics, as we'll generally just call them. yeah, though this was generally a pretty decisive victory for the Bohemians, they actually failed to follow up on their victory and sort of crush the Habsburg army. Even though it evacuated Bohemia, it was obviously still fairly intact, having only lost sort of about 1/10 of its force. And yeah, if they kind of followed up and defeated it fully, this Habsburg force might have helped solidify Protestant rule in Bohemia. I'm not really knowledgeable in the 30 Years' War, but yeah, I don't really know after this what really takes place. Obviously, the HRE lasts for another 2 centuries, pretty much. Catholic rule, and certainly in southern Germany, and sort of I don't know really Bohemia nowadays, whether it is Protestant or really mainly Catholic. But so obviously they stay Catholic to the HRE, and large swathes of their territory they hold on to stays Catholic as well. Really only like the northern states, which I wouldn't count Bohemia as a Protestant. There he goes. First bit of wavering going on there for the Catholics I saw. Seems like it might have, as soon as I said it, stabilized. John Cena not having a good day with his regiments. They are all wavering. They are, yeah, getting gunned down. I think they're getting outranged maybe by the Jaegers here. Just have to shoot at will and have better accuracy on those musketeers.
Our men are running.
Artillery here is yeah, blasting away doing this bit. And there you go, John Seaton breaks. He's not having a good day. But the Bohemians on this side looking really good. Looking like they're wrapping around slowly around that flank. You can see on the map, the red is the Bohemians. They're slowly getting around that blue line there of the HRE. Just bit by bit. And they're routing. There you go. Another musketeer gone. 73 of them left. And that will affect others. I mean, they are also, you know, looking pretty bad in some spots. The Bohemians down to 90 men. They can back it up. Still got, like, yeah, battalion staff back here as well, trying to help with morale. It's good. This is certainly a good spot that the Bohemians want to target. Is this corner here, because they're sort of angled. Like, is this Wallenstein musketeer here shooting at these Hamilton Scots, and there's nothing really shooting at this Scottish unit here. The pikes could almost go through this gap and just try and hit between the two. That would be a good target. Wallenstein musketeers, by the way, have some of the finest uniforms. They're running away now. Stop running away! I want to look at your uniforms. They have some of the finest uniforms in game. They really do. Some great detail on them. Another famous general. Oh, there you go. We had a spooky moment there as Cuirassier Regiment charge in for Bohemia. And they have gone pretty much through that gap that I said that they should go for. Was the most vulnerable spot. And they went for the Wallenstein Musketeers. And we're going to see an advance here as well from the HRE. Musketeers moving forward. We've got the Fugger Infantry moving forward. And various other mercenary Musketeers. There are also cavalry here. Ritter moving forward. Or Ritter, sorry, moving forward for the HRE, forcing back the Cuirassiers, but nothing routing, apart from maybe Wallenstein's Musketeers. And this is definitely the weak spot here for Bohemia. Look at this, just got one Musketeer here holding the line, and a whole bunch of HRE now units moving forward. The Bohemians need to sort this out. They've got a lot of reserves to the left and right, but yeah, nothing really, you know, supporting this center. The pikes need to get ready and move forward. Yeah, mobilize the pikes, get them forward now. And here we go. We're going to see our first sort of pike fight, I think, right slap bang in the middle of this battlefield. And there you go. Stop poking away, boys. Poke, poke, poke. And I don't really know how pike combat really works. You just kind of send guys in and just, I think, hope for the best. I really don't know if there's much strategy to it. And there's a flank going on here from a pike unit. And it's flanking this sort of advance that the HRE did. These pikes can take a fair amount of punishment, but getting shot on the flank is certainly not for them. They don't like that. So yeah, this if they can set up some units here, the Catholic League, and shoot into the flank, they have a good chance. And they certainly don't want to be friendly fired either, do the pikes. They are pushing forward, pushing back these musketeers, which do not do well against pikes, as expected. But my gosh, frontal volleys like that will also do some serious damage to the pikes. Redlining. That is for sure. And yeah, pike fight seems like the I mean, it's combat even, but morale would say maybe the HRE one's losing. Yeah, certainly would. Light pikemen here losing decisively against, I presume, heavier pikes. The Bohemian ones that do this little flank, though, have routed. It seem a bit bold to do that push on their own, unsupported. But it has forced back this advance here from the HRE to a certain extent. And now that the Pikes could keep advancing forward again, I'd say this is a good spot. You can see like the line turns here, where the Fugger Musketeers are. Like sort of on this corner is a good weak spot to try and advance forward, try and do some damage. Looks like we see more Pikes move forward here. The ladder slab ones move forward, and again on the flanks looks like cavalry helping to win, and it looks like they've routed Pikes here as well. Actually managed to rout like a healthy unit, 296 routed. We're seeing Harquebuses again push forward. Again, they look like they're going to be scaring off the Cuirassiers. There are lots of Bohemian cav now in behind. And also there's Musketeers up to assist, so they can't push too far forward, can the HRE, without getting blasted in the face. The Catholic League's going to have to do something to try and, you know, maybe turn this fight around. I'd say maybe advance over here. Maybe not up the hill necessarily, but I'd say advance forward and support your HRE. And so, like, it's got to be all or nothing now. The HRE's going in, and so is the Bohemians in different sectors to try and, you know, tip the battle in their balance, in their favor. There's a lot of dead down here, though. Look at the bodies already mounting up down here. I mean, there's got to be more casualties than there were in history already. That's for sure. Certainly for the Bohemians, 80 dead is pretty incredible. I mean, it sounds like basically it was mainly a gunfight, like an artillery fight, not really like an actual sort of close combat sort of fight taking place. But, you know, it's nice to see something a little bit different. I wouldn't have wanted an hour worth of just shooting each other with cannons. That would have been boring. Get stuck in there, lads, and here we go. Cavalry charging again. Oh my gosh. Cuirassiers kind of charging through the back of their own infantry. Did get a full face of musket balls as well, and they're trying to break through this Fugger line infantry sort of force. It's not working so great. And it looks like the Bohemians are on the point of breaking, but so are the Pikes for the HRE. Both sides in a real bad state there. Cav again going to try and break through more Cuirassiers, trying to smash their way through. And I think because they're sort of pushing past that Pike unit, they've helped break it. And in amongst the center line here, the HRE and all sorts of problems. They haven't got anything to sort of back this up. No Cav here to counter-charge because it's all busy on the flanks. The Bohemians have lost their Pikes there, though. 260, and they broke. Pretty shocking. Looks like more Musketeers here breaking that. So yeah, the Catholic League are inflicting some losses, but not enough. The HRE are in all sorts of problems on this flank. Cav at any moment could just side charge and break it. I mean, a lot of the units also are redlining. Whether that's because they've returned already once, or whether they are just so depleted. These boys are, yeah, in an uphill battle. Not quite literally now. Oh my god, rip a piece of that guy. Hans! Are you okay? Hans is not okay. Don't think he's going to be waking up. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, this is looking back cavalry-wise. Well, look at the size of the units. I mean, Bohemia is not really in a great shape himself either. But yeah, these cavalry units are pretty small for the HRE. And yeah, the infantry units, you can see, look at like the length of them. Like the Bohemian ones going to be stretched out so much further than the HRE ones. And now they're sort of mixing them up a little bit here. Now, I was going to say, is the time for Bohemia to advance, take advantage, get closer, start blasting them if you can. That was possibly the worst move the HRE could do, is to sort of try and mix his units over like this. Don't know what he's trying to achieve. Whether he's trying to advance the Pikes. That's what it is. We've got, yeah, the Pikes coming forward here. The German light Pikes and the Breuner Pikes as well, I think. The light Pikes aren't anything to be impressed by looks of it. But the more heavily armored Breuner ones maybe. It's a 2-on-1, I think, in favor of the HRE here. But we'll see how they do. But always try and get it to the angle so you can actually see what's going on, so you get the lighting. There you go. Yeah, these are pretty heavily armored HRE Pikes here. The light Pikes not so much, and they're probably going to get side-shot by the Bohemians anyway. So yeah, this is a bit risky here by the HRE, not backing up with Musketeers or with Cav. I mean, because yeah, there's Musketeers on the flank. They could charge with the cavalry here, try and back that up. But just going in nicely with Pikes. I don't know how wise an idea that is. But also, I guess, it's very different to Pike Shot. I've never actually yet played a game of it, but I can imagine you don't want to just go in for an all-out assault, risk it all, and lose it all. These games can be quite long, and they aren't over until the fat lady sings. You can quite easily turn a game around. I've seen a lot of comeback games in this. All you need is a lucky rout with something. Musketeers, like a small unit of musketeers, can make a big difference sometimes. And certainly a cav charge can make all the difference. But yeah, charging forward a couple of pikes like that does seem unsupported, seems a little bit odd. And the light pikes trying to maneuver in behind, and they're just getting back charged instead by some arquebusiers. That's their reward, and they're going to be routed, and they probably will shatter, I think, because yeah, they're way in behind enemy lines. And yeah, the HRE left, I would say, is now gone. Like the Bohemians here, as you can see, they're advancing. They're attacking almost side on onto these units here. So the HRE's not turned any more units to actually deal with this new threat, because he thought he was either going to win or whether he just doesn't have the men now to turn. And you see the Catholic League, they're sending troops in this direction now to actually support that flank, I think. They're going to be setting up behind that cavalry line. The HRE needs to pull back a little bit more. But yeah, that cavalry line, I think, is going to be the new hard flank. And the Catholic League is sending over a decent amount of infantry. And they need to. They're not doing anything else on their flank. And we're going to see, I think, Cav shifted maybe in that direction as well. It seems like they are certainly shifting to the center and possibly going to go again to the far flank, which might allow Bohemia to actually activate his cavalry on his right, because he will now outnumber all the cavalry here, though they are cuirassiers and Pappenheim cuirassiers at that. So they're good stuff. Croatians also waiting there. I mean, yeah, it's always a risk, but it's possible. Bohemia seems like he's still losing this fight, I would say. This gunfight seems like it's going in favor of the Catholic League. I've seen more Bohemian units being routed than Catholics at the moment. And by Catholics, I mean Catholic League. There have been a whole bunch of Catholic units routing thanks to the HRE. Longoval here must be starting to crap himself. He's also pretty banged up. I don't think he's been in melee. I think he's just been shot at. I think it's just stray musket balls.
Our men are running, sir.
Here we go. The Catholic League now arriving. They might put a stop to this this advance here from Bohemia. We'll see. These are fresh units arriving. Looks like they're actually going to stand at the moment behind the weakened HRE ones. Not a bad idea. Just, you know, let the weakened units maybe just weaken Bohemia ever so slightly more before they rout. Go on, boys. One volley for the Empire before you run away back to Vienna. Or not. Oh, there you go. I mean, it takes a while, I guess, to load your musket, but you're not even doing that, guys. In the age of pike and shot, it does take about 6 years to load a musket. That's why pikes are still a thing. And these guys, these pikes going in with their swords. So they've abandoned their style of combat with a pike, and they're just going to go back to the old stabby sword. Not the old pokey, but the stabby. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they are better in melee doing that. I really have no idea. The musketeers here are falling back. They're just pulling out of melee. Bars on my way, that's like, okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. The Bohemians actually did flank here, as you can see, and they started to blast the side of these those HRE pikes. It's not a bad idea. You see it quite often in NTW3 as well. Once a melee takes place, you just side shot the melee, and your side will end up winning. As long as you have more side shots than the other, and then the enemy. Catholics, yeah, they actually are seem to set up way on the, if we call it the right flank for the Catholic League. They're sitting way on the right to try and almost contend with the cavalry of the Bohemians. Seems like they're kind of letting the HRE sort of fill in to the left of them for now. They're not taking on. I wouldn't say they were taking on much of the infantry of the left of the Bohemia. They're actually looking at the cavalry, forcing that back. It's not a bad idea. Bohemia's actually just going to go in for a little charge here. Cheeky little charge. Don't blame it. It's a rear charge as well. Just get rid of that arquebusier. I don't blame the HRE unit for that player for that. He probably thought this unit was routed a long time ago. I hadn't realized it returned. And you have so many units to deal with.
Our men are running,
Micro must be a nightmare. More units breaking here for the Bohemians. Their musketeers seem to be losing a lot of these fights, but they have pushed here. Look at that. The cavalry has come down the hill. Arquebusiers have just managed to get a sneaky side shot here. I bet that's because the Catholic League player was busy on the other side, maneuvering his units into position, and he's lost his Jaegers, or at least one of them. Like I said, you can't be everywhere. Micro must be a right painful. Like most players seem to have like 30 plus units. Croatian Arquebusiers getting a few shots off. Missed every single one. These Arquebusiers untouched. But yeah, slowly if they can just chip away those Jaegers there, they can then move forward, I'd say, with their overwhelming firepower of cuirassiers and Arquebusiers. Might be able to take the gunfight here to Bavaria or the Catholic League. Also, the cuirassiers back here are redlining. Whether they're being shot by artillery or whether they're being shot by just rogue shots from Arquebusiers, I don't know. I think it might be the 4-pounder on top of that hill. But yeah, as you can see, the Bohemians here are still losing this gunfight, even though they're uphill. That's crazy. That is crazy. I just think the Catholic League must have better shooting stats. They don't even care that Bohemia's up on a hill. Cavalry here wavering for Bohemia. I think he's getting shot as they march by. And here we go, Bohemia going in. Good charge into the back of these musketeers here. And they're going into the back of cav units here. And they're going to go in. I mean, they get a good volley here into this Arquebusier and then charge. They'll rout it for sure. It's redlining already. Now, here goes HRE. They react. Cuirassier Pappenheim here as well set up. So they have sent one elite. Well, I think it's their elite. They look pretty damn elite. Cuirassier to this side here. And there you go, a volley off. Everyone is redlining, by the way, and wavering in some stage. Like the Cuirassier Pappenheim redlining. So all these Bohemians, but they're also like sort of winning their fight. It's all a bit confusing. And there you go, Bohemians actually mass routing here with his cav. Not good at all. Yeah, everything, wow, just mass routed. And the cav victory there for the Catholics. They scared off all those Bohemian cavalry units. They have still got a couple of, cuirassiers back here and a Arquebusier. I wouldn't send them forward. Play defensive now. The general here, we do have Count of Thurn, who is actually the historical general for the Bohemians. What do they have the other one as? Just a general's bodyguard.
Our men are running.
The Count of Thurn was the commander at the Battle of Lomnice. They do have him. Very cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the cows returned, but once you've returned once, you're never quite the same the second time round. And Pike and Shot units will return 2 or 3 times, just because of the size of the unit. But keep on blasting. I mean, I think the Bohemians have got a good thing going on this left flank. Whether they should stack more here, just kind of thin out their center, where they seem to be losing. Get more cav to the flank as well.
Our men are running, sir.
So they have a good thing going on this left flank here. I mean, with the Catholics arriving, it's swinging back in favor of the Catholic, alliance. But yeah, they seem to have a good thing going, to be honest. They are also thinning out sort of like the center here, where this Broiner infantry is, and the Fugger infantry. This is looking really thin, actually, and would be another great spot to try and break through. But yeah, the Bohemians also look pretty thin there. I did see a wavering cav unit. I think it's, yeah, they are getting blasted by the artillery. Just, yeah, 65 and dropping. Yeah, it's wavering. Look at that. I mean, there's not much the Catholic League can do about this, but I'd probably pull back. It's not like Bohemia is going to be able to strike quickly. And finally, the Catholic League is starting to waver in a few spots here. In a few spots. And they're routing. They're fully shattered. George Rudolph Haslang has gone with his regiment. I do like how the units are named after the person who raised them in some instances. There you go, Broiner infantry breaking, and it's in that center, which I just highlighted, that it looks like a weak point. And Bohemia's shifting cav there by looks of 2 cuirassier regiments, and also looks like we've got more here shifting. So yeah, we're going to see a big push there in the center, I think, momentarily. Schmidt infantry is also starting to redline and waver as well in that flank. So still seeing Bohemia as a bit of an edge against the Catholics on this left flank here. And here we go, that push in the center is coming. Infantry moving forward and cav. And this might be the defining push here by Bohemia. If they don't win this, there's a big gap in the line that splits the 2 armies. And I mean, this Bohemian force here could quite easily taken out. It's pretty banged up on the left. That would be what I'd deal with first before swinging on to the rest if I was the Catholics. But yeah, they've got to deal with this this push here themselves first. Cav moving through the lines. I don't know if this is really against the rules or not, whether you have to make gaps like in NTW3. But yeah, here they go. They're going through. It also slows units down, I would have thought. The Cuirassiers might go through the gap. No, they're just going to go charge in, make a bigger gap. I don't blame them. And yeah, they're going to rout that first unit. They'll probably get the second one as well. It's already yellow lining. Infantry backing it up. The other Cuirassiers here also moving forward. They need to get into melee as quick as possible. Avoid pikes and just cause as much problems as possible. And then infantry, pikes and musketeers, both included, need to back up this push. You cannot do it. They cannot do it all alone. And this is a good opportunity here. Back charging. Looks like pike units. And if they can break those, then there's musketeers as well that you can get as well. And they can side shot and also side charge here, can the Bohemians. And this is looking like a really good push here in the center. Again, the Pike's doing a bit like the HRE did earlier. They got their swords out, they charged, they actually routed out on the charge. Now they're getting their pikes out. Whether it's a strategy to charge without pikes, do you close the ground a bit quicker and then you get your pikes out at the last minute? That seems like you can do that once in melee. Cuirassiers engaging here, Pappenheim ones and also Bohemian ones. Pappenheim looks like he's going to win that fight. The Bohemian ones, I mean, they got blasted in the face whilst in melee. They're redlining of the Bohemians. I think they've run their race there. The other one, I think, is still pretty intact. Yeah, it's actually in the back lines of all these HRE units. And you can see the Bohemian line, the HRE line is in absolute chaos. The cavalry is now shifted all to the center here, which probably means, yeah, there's no one on the flank here. The Bohemian cav here needs to now react and also start to slam into this Catholic force here. And it is now moving great. Great timing by the Bohemian players. Though it is still looking very tenuous. The Bohemian center is kind of getting countered, and a lot of it is starting to shatter itself, as you can see. Oh gosh, yeah. These John Seaton musketeers not looking healthy. Though the Pappenheim Cuirassiers routed on impact. That might actually just save the Bohemian push. We'll see though. Looks like cavalry here. This is the Cuirassiers there trying to get out of there. And this is Bohemian pikes flanking HRE pikes. It's a bit of a mess who's who in there. But yeah, it looks pretty good actually. Yeah, for the Bohemians, they've destroyed Italian staff, which means they probably can get these Italian mercenary musketeers and the pikes there. And there you go, the cav on the left flank also striking in. Go in for those Catholic League musketeers, and they can work their way down the line now. The next one's already starting to break. That's great to see. Countercharge here was done by the Catholic League. They sent some German mercenary Ritter in. Looks like they routed some musketeers, and they're actually still causing chaos. There's still a Ritter in here. So yeah, the Catholic League's not done yet. They're also causing issues on the much weaker right for the Bohemians, it seems. Pikes here might stop that Ritter though, and that has just about. That's huge. And look at this, Bohemia still causing chaos. Those Cuirassiers still in there. The Bohemian infantry needs to back it up. Back up that push. And you heard the guy there say regroup, and that is absolutely correct. The Bohemians need to sort of regroup. They've pushed. They don't want to over push, and they've got pikes here looking the wrong way to start with. That's a problem. Cavalry here still seems like it's causing all sorts of problems, and they need to move the pikes forward. Just get them into melee. Get into melee and just help out your cavalry comrades. Keep hacking and slashing. You can see here, yeah, battalion staff. If that gets routed, that will cause all sorts of morale issues for these other units here for the Catholic League, because that's what they're there for, is morale boosts to those battalion staff. The cavalry here for the HRE, they've moved to the center, then hasn't been committed at all. Longueval just standing and watching as his army disintegrates. Catholic League, again going in with those German mercenary Rater. Again, looks like they're going to get thrown back. I don't know what that is there. It's a Cuirassier for the Bohemia falling back. Another push here, again. Pikes going in. We've got, yeah, these look relatively, I'd say light pikes for the Catholic League. Fighting against much heavier, by the look like anyway, much heavier pikes for the Bohemians, and they are by the looks of it as well. They're routing these guys pretty quickly. Bohemia losing here, though, with his musketeers. Look like they've got into melee. And it looks like they're also getting blasted point blank range by the Tilly musketeers. But support is coming. And here comes the right flank and the right cavalry, corps of Bohemia. Pretty much untouched. A lot of cuirassiers involved in this as well. I'm going to see a huge cavalry column, I think, smash into this gap here. They're going to go, through this gap between the Jaegers and the actual line infantry. And try and smash that up. You can see the Catholic League is also trying to react. They've got their cavalry shifting to try and cover the gap. Charge here from another cuirassier going through the Jaegers. And routing those Jaegers might also unsettle the arquebusiers here. The Croatian ones, they're not that great in melee, I don't think. But he's actually going to pull back the cuirassiers. The other ones haven't backed him up. They should have probably gone in as well. And here we go. Big cav fight about to take place here. These cuirassiers have carbines. They don't have pistols like some of the other factions do. There you go. They blasted. I don't think they routed a Ritter. And now they're going to fight some cuirassiers, some Ritters. A bit of a mix of the two here for the Catholic League. And then there you go. It's like we're back in the medieval era still. Like there's men in full suits of armor battling away on horseback. And I think Bohemia's lost this, you know. Oh, you know, Catholic League's going to lose his Ritter. Yeah, it looks like, you know, the Bohemians lost that on a charge there. I think, yeah, because they didn't get a charge off. They just kind of stood their ground. They chose the volley rather than the charge. But it doesn't look like it matters. It's all mopped up on that other flank. The cavalry there on the left swung in, dealt with the Catholic forces, and then seems to have moved down the line. And the Bohemians advanced forward as well where they needed to with infantry. And yeah, the Hatchery is fully gone. And the Catholic League's going to follow, I imagine, with army losses in a second. The cavalry is all that remains. The Pappenheim cuirassiers proving their eliteness and being the last men to break. They're going to go in for a charge here against arquebusiers. They might rout some of these horsemen of Bohemia, but we'll see. But it does seem as though Bohemia is going to win this battle as he did in history, but at a much higher cost than he did in history. And there you go, you're going to see the General's Bodyguard go in. Arquebusiers here actually are getting routed. The Pappenheim cuirassiers do seem just damn strong. The other General's Bodyguard for the Kingdom of Bohemia is going well into enemy lines, I'd just like to say. And yeah, look at that, they've shattered the Bohemian cavalry line. They probably should have done this earlier, tried to push this, because evidently they had the superiority in cav. And there you go. It did just come down to a bit of army losses in the end. I think some of those units were just winning for the Catholic League. But the Bohemians do win like they did in history. But what a cost. I mean, what a fight. That really, really was. Certainly really well done by the Bohemians on the left flank, maneuvering around the HRE lines. So the HRE sort of losing a few key cav fights and also not really turning their infantry and positioning them like to actually contend with the Bohemian flank. And the Catholic League could argue maybe being a bit slow, winning their uphill fight, not really getting into closer range and sort of, really pressuring the Bohemians there on the right. And definitely could have won that cav fight by the looks of it. But yeah, it was, and they were a bit slower, maybe moving forces across, you could say, to the right flank to support the HRE once they realized that they were losing. It was maybe they pushed them across a little bit too late. But yeah, a really good fight by both sides. Honestly, looked like to start with, the Bohemians maybe were a bit out of their depth fighting on that hill. But you know, the left flank was all where it was going on. That's where their main push was coming, and I don't blame them. It worked to a treat. But yeah, this one was sent in, I believe, by Itchy Left Nut, who was playing as one of the Bohemian armies. I don't know if it's from his perspective or whether it's from Panzer's perspective, but these guys did win as the Bohemians. Well done to them. Sandwich and Karl Philipp zu Schwarzenberg losing as the Catholic forces. But yeah, we'll quick look at some of the unit stats. I think it must be from Panzer's perspective, as it's his army first. But yeah, 430 kills for his German and mercenary arquebusiers. His pikes here getting 411 kills, 348 kills for the cuirassiers, and then he's got his arquebusiers, 251 kills, 212 for the arquebusiers again, 208 for another one, and then he's got 196 kills with an infantry unit. And there are the rest of his kills. If you want to look at it, he's got some huge kills. I mean, he's got yeah, I mean, there's so many men to kill that you do get huge amounts of kills. And there you go. Count Thurn getting himself 1 kill. What a man. Then we've got Sandwich playing as the Catholic League by the looks of it, I think. And you got 158 kills with his artillery here. His Jaeger's 144 kills, which shows that he was quite inactive, you could say, kind of just sitting back and not wanting to go uphill. It was a tough one for him. Maybe could have tried to sneak more troops over elsewhere, but it's hard to do. And then, yeah, Mercenary Ratios 124 kills, Musketeers 132. Tilly's Musketeers 122 kills, and there are the rest of his kills. If you want to have a look at those. Then we have Itchy Left Nut playing as the other Bohemian army. His Cuirassiers getting 291 kills. His Musketeers 239 kills, 204 kills with the pikes there. 186 kills with his infantry, 185 with another one there. I think he must have been the force on the hill, so just the less amount of kills he's got compared to Panzer. And then we do have Schwarzenberg playing as the HRE. Very appropriate, I feel like. Being a Austrian commander, named after Austrian commander. 153 kills with his pikes. His Musketeers 134 kills, 128 with the Musketeers here. German Mercenary Musketeers 126 kills. And yeah, there are the rest of his kills if you want to have a look at those. But there you go, guys. That is the Battle of Lomnice. Another historical battle ticked off in Pike and Shot. If you haven't seen some of the other battles that are appearing on your screen now, do check some of those out. We've got some glorious ones there. But yeah, don't forget there's another battle coming out soon. Checking out the other new faction, the Danish faction, very, very shortly in the next couple of days. So do keep an eye out for that. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all that shenanigans. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.